Welcome. I'm Alessandro Bogliolo from the University of Urbino, and I'd like to invite you today to take advantage of the Europe Code Week to start learning the language of things. Human languages allow people to speak with each other, and we learn foreign languages in order to be able to talk with people coming from different countries. Animals have their own languages too, and we would like to be as gifted as superheroes or wizards in order to understand what they say. But when we are kids, we speak not only with animals, we speak even with things. Basically, we speak with any object around us, starting from our own toys. What's new today is that there is a way of speaking with things for real, because many objects have learned to communicate, have become able to understand what we say, to reply, and most important, to do more or less what we ask them to do. There are many more speaking objects around us than we imagine. They include not only our personal computers, our laptops, tablets, smartphones, but also most of the appliances we have at home, many objects we see in our cities, and even most of the components of our car that communicate with each other in order to provide better performance, new functionalities, enhanced reliability, enhanced safety, and so on. But in order to understand how it is possible for an object to speak, we need to look inside. And inside any object that we call smart, we find a microprocessor, an electronic component smaller than a coin, which is able to understand and execute instructions. Microprocessors can only process very simple instructions one at a time, but they are able to execute them very, very fast. So fast that they can execute billions of instructions in every single second. The sequence of instructions to be executed in order to do something useful or something fun is a program. Any object that contains a microprocessor not only can, but it needs to be programmed in order to know what to do. Coding is the process of writing such a program, and that's why coding is, in fact, the language of things. Among all the objects that are able to speak, smartphones are for sure our preferred gateway to the world of things. In fact, they fit into our pockets so that they are always with us. They are very easy to use thanks to their intuitive multi-touch interfaces. They are always connected to the internet. They are able to communicate with all other objects. And most important, they have millions of apps which allow us to do many different things with our smartphones simply by choosing the appropriate app from an application store. However, the app that can be taken from an application store allow us to do only what has been already taught and programmed by someone else. So what if we wanted to do something new with our smartphone, something that no one else has ever done or taught? In this case, we should know the language of things in order to develop by ourselves our own original app. That's a matter of creativity. The Europe Code Week is an initiative of the European Commission launched by Vice President Neelie Kroes together with her young advisors from all over Europe, starting from three very simple points. First, coding is the simplest and the most effective way to make your ideas come true. Second, coding skills stimulate creative thinking. And third, young people's creativity is the key for the competitiveness of Europe. In the interactive version of this presentation, you can hear the motivations directly from the voice of Neelie Kroes and from the young advisors. Motivations, however, can be summarized by an effective quote. Coders are the new rock stars, and Europe needs them in order to take the lead in the digital era. Now it's time to take a look at the language we are talking about. The native language of microprocessor is the machine code, which is a binary code made only of zeros and ones, very impractical to learn for any human being. Programming languages are much more human-friendly in that they make use of English words as instructions that are then automatically translated into machine code in order to be executed. Finally, there are visual languages, which allows us to compose the instruction graphically in a very intuitive way which makes us immediately able to code. Visual languages are the perfect starting point for our purposes. In any case, it is important to know that all the languages are complete. This means that they allow us to do whatever we want. The step-by-step procedure to be followed to reach a goal is called an algorithm. Hence, programs are nothing but algorithms expressed in a given programming language. When coding, we need to provide simple and clear instruction to the target machine, relying on the fact that our instruction will be executed very fast and with no errors, but one at a time and without any imagination. Hence, it is essential that we do not neglect any detail and that we take the point of view of the machine that will execute the code. But that's all we need to know in order to start coding. So to conclude, or better to start, coding means speaking the language of all the smart objects around us. Coding skills grant us the capability of making things do what we want them to do, without waiting for others to do it first. Coding makes our ideas come true, but above all, code is cool. So let's code together.